Would you rather have cheddar cheese for knees, or a talking dog that only speaks in Portuguese? Or to make yourself feel really dry, would you towel dry between your thighs, or dangle out your knackers in the breeze? You are listening to Knackers in the Breeze podcast with me, Ryan.
And me, Bigger Bears.
This is episode 12. Zwolf.
And
we want to get more German listeners in, so if you know German, get in to ask a question.
It was a very French-heavy episode in the last episode, I don't know if you remember. It was very continental, very French. Baguettes, cheese, mimes, Eiffel Tower, the war, France.
La guerre.
La guerre. That's France, summed up. 5 cultural references. Baguette, cheese, mime, Rodin. Is he French? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it was very French heavy, so maybe let's go German this episode. Who knows?
German. Fuck it.
That's the only German reference we're going to have.
We're going to do some sort of theme. We'll figure it out whilst we go.
Oh, every episode. Because
as we've become like 12 episodes in, now we think of a theme. We'll have a theme beforehand, probably.
I feel like, no, it's very timely theme, because as Brexit takes hold and we leave, let's just, every episode, we'll just go to another European country. And if our only tribute to that country is saying the number of our episode in that language, that's good enough for me.
Unless this comes out post-Brexit, then we apologise and we will not be visiting you, because we will be locked in our own country and we will die from starvation. So we will see you in the next life.
We're better off without you. Yeah. And that's why we're leaving. Good riddance, I say. Not that I'm pro-Brexit, but things would be so much better if we weren't part of that bloody Europe. That's what I'm saying.
I'm a Romanian.
It's funny you say that, because I've actually got some funny quips in this subject. Are you ready? Funny names for European countries that are leaving. If France was leaving the EU like we are, we've got Brexit, what would France's name be? What would the name be for their withdrawal from the European Union? Are you ready?
Okay.
Fravoir. Okay.
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 Yeah.
You ready? We out. OWI. Yeah. Okay. Adieu. And the EU of adieu is in capital letters.
Okay.
Adieu.
What about Germany? Deutsche Wiedersehen?
That's great, and I haven't got anything for that, so we'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got one for Italy. Could you guess what it is? Quite an obvious one.
Tally exit?
No, that's very good, though. That's very good.
Well, okay.
Italy.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
No, that's a lot better.
Quitaly.
Quitaly. Oh, that's so much better. Fuck mine.
I've got one for Poland as well. You ready? Poland.
Okay. Goland.
That's very close to what I've got, but it's not what it is. That's very good. Noland.
Noland.
And
that's very much what happened in World War II.
There's World War II fact.
World War II reference.
This is a brilliant Poland one that is fucking awesome. Withdrawal. Yeah, that is good. I didn't come up with that one. That's really good. And are you ready? One for Belgium, which is quite nice. Belgium. Okay, no, all right. This one is equally as bad. Bijum. Not as good as Brexit, is it? Bijum. And he's walking out the room, everyone. He's left the studio. Come back.
I quit this podcast.
He's gone full Brexit. He's gone full.
See you later, guys.
All right, see you later. And he's left, just like. He's left us alone. Oh no, he's back. He's coming back.
It's cold. It's January. I would have left this podcast if I didn't have anywhere else to go.
If there was, yeah. He wanted back in. He wanted back in, and that's something you can't do, England. You can't come back in when you've left.
Taxis are hard to get at this time at Friday night.
I tell you what, I've been quipping with my quips. In previous episodes, I've always done a radio-themed silly game. Okay.
Oh, we missed that in the last episode.
Yeah, I didn't know that last time because I thought you can have too much of a good thing. But tonight, I got one for you. It's not themed on anything necessarily. I mean, there's no reason why I've gone for this theme, I should say. But it's to do with celebrities. How is your celebrity knowledge?
My celebrity knowledge is very low.
I seem to remember a past
as recorded in last episode when I couldn't really.
You seem to know a lot about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. That's all I remember.
Just Brad Pitt because I follow him.
But,
not on Facebook or Twitter. I just follow him.
This is a very quick game. You have to imagine this will be on a public radio, drive time in the morning. fun, light-hearted. Families all listening. There's kids in the car. They're going to school. You can win £1,000. It's that kind of game. All right? That's the mindset. And this is called American Celebrity Murderers. Okay.
Very specific.
Yes. So this is all about American celebrities. Here's the game. I'm going to tell you 2 celebrities. You've got to tell me which one has murdered someone before. Okay? Okay, here we go. The first celebrity couple. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Venus Williams.
Right.
Or Tiger Woods?
Tiger Woods.
Venus Williams or Tiger Woods?
Tiger Woods.
Which one has a death to their name?
Which one has a death to their name?
Well, which one's murdered or has been involved in a murder trial because of something that they were heavily involved in? You are saying Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods has been involved in quite a few...
He's had a few struggles recently, okay.
I don't know. Venus Williams feels like she's from like quite a wealthy background,
Okay.
which can feel like they can just like bust people without people knowing, sort of thing. I don't know. But then again, Tiger Woods isn't from an unwealthy background, so I'm gonna go with Venus.
Okay. That's 1 point.
Yay!
There we go. Tennis star Venus
Podcast
Williams.
is taking off.
She was in a car accident in 2017, which left 1 man dead. She was driving in Palm Beach, Florida, when she rushed into an intersection, despite not having the right of way, and she was T-boned by a car. The car's driver survived, but the car driver's husband, a 78-year-old man, was sent to the ICU and died 2 weeks later.
ICU standing for intensive care unit.
Yeah, well done. That's very true. Yeah.
So
that's
one,
isn't it? 1
and
point.
it's very appropriate now because Prince Philip has just been involved in the car accident.
A very similar accident, by the way. He actually pulled out in a junction, but nobody died, unfortunately.
Yeah,
in that one.
no, he's very old. He's very old, and he can't pull out of a junction, which I have experience of in a town with very old people who can't pull out of a junction. So it's not alien to me, but a lot of the rest of the UK is surprised by the antics of.
Well, he's 98, and
it reinforces my point.
So that's 1 point. That's 1 point.
That's 1 point.
Okay. I'll stop that there. Okay, so number 2, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Okay, I've seen a bit of it.
Versus.
Is it MTV?
V.
Okay.
Eminem. One's a bad boy rapper. One's a bounty hunter.
In what way? Fighting?
It does not
in
matter.
Bounty hunting, in rapping.
It's how you judge that. What do you think? One of them has been involved in a murder. Which one do you think is?
I always think. Well, I don't always think, but
Does Eminem will talk?
I don't know much about Dog and a Bounty Hunter. All I know is a bit of his TV program where he was getting bounty hunters.
Yeah. Lady of
he seemed a bit of. He seemed quite badass, to be fair.
Oh, he's a bad boy.
I wouldn't fucking mess with him, and I wouldn't want to commit a crime around him.
Sure he would bounty hunter you out.
He would bounce me in a second. And I feel like Eminem knows people. Not like Eminem would do it himself.
No, but do you know what? If he was on the scene of the crime, he would still be judged to be part of the crime. So that's a very important point.
But he's at least back in the day, as I liked him in the early noughties, mid noughties, he was quite a strong rapper. So you'd do at least a political rap about it.
Okay, so you think
which would bring attention to the thing, which may be a bit too late. But him being immediate, I know he did He did the immediate thing about Donald Trump, wasn't it? And it was like, it was so cringeworthy.
I didn't enjoy that.
I think I saw it, but I couldn't even
I mean, this is you.
I couldn't even go to the end of it because it was so bad. He even stumbled over his words of. He was in a car park,
and
he was with people, and they were just nodding along, going, "Yeah, Marshall, yeah, do that." And he was just like, "Yeah, no, hold on, let me remember the words." Who's it? Is it about Donald? Donald Trump. Yeah, he's a prick, and he should suck my dick, and he's thick, and he's got less intelligence than the brick.
That was quite good, by the way.
It's better than fucking what he did. To be fair.
So going back to the question. Dog the Bounty Hunter or Eminem, which one's killed a man or a woman or has been involved in a murder in any way?
Oh, yeah. I'd say Eminem has, because Dog and the Bounty Hunter is seeking out the bounties, whereas Eminem is just rapping about things in his life.
Okay, I would say Eminem is all talk and he's all show. He's never killed a man. But Dog the Bounty Hunter, on the other hand...
Have I just got this wrong?
Dog the Bounty Hunter...
I appeal. I would take this to a court of appeal.
Dog the Bounty Hunter was involved in a... somebody went to buy weed from his friend.
I'm supposed to know the history.
Yeah. And Dog, as he's called, was waiting in the car. Was it because somebody got shot and then he was the getaway car and drove off during the weed deal? He was convicted and served 18 months of a 5-year sentence, and he's still barred from the UK. So you're never going to see Dog the Bounty Hunter walking down the high street because he is not allowed here anymore in England. But in America,
unless he's in chains,
and delivering sort of inspirational talks. Okay,
unless he's delivering his head to the town.
Okay, so. Number 3, the final one.
It's the game.
We've got another rapper here. You may have heard of him. It's called Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg. This is Snoop Dogg v.
He looks like one of our regular contributors called Dave.
There's a similarity. So this is Snoop Dogg v. Matthew Broderick, who you may remember from Cable Guy. Various People's Day Off.
Yeah.
And he has also appeared in BoJack Horseman as a voiceover.
Has he?
Oh, he has.
Which character?
I don't know. Also, he was star in the Producers, the very famous film. So, Matthew Broderick or Snoop Dogg, who's got a hit on their name? Who's got a notch on the headboard?
Hey, who's got a hit on their name? Someone you know or someone you've vaguely heard of?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Matthew Broderick, so I know him.
If Snoop Dogg had a hit on his name, he would be gone by now because he was massively famous. I'm going to say so? Matthew Broderick, who is in Cable Guy. I reckon
and
him.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
And Ferris Bueller. Oh, it's him. And was he in Mr. Bean's? No, it wasn't him, was it?
Probably. I don't.
Was it him? No, it wasn't him.
I'm not his biggest fan because he's a fucking murderer. No, I'm joking. He's not really.
Yeah,
I guess
him. And he's been in other stuff that I know.
Okay.
Maybe Jim. No, that was the Cable Guy, wasn't it? Yeah.
So,
no, him. He's the fucking murderer. I see it in his. I see it in his fucking eyes.
On August the 5th, 1987, Matthew Broderick was driving with his then girlfriend Jennifer Grey when they accidentally hit a car. Both Anne Gallagher and Margaret Doherty in the car were killed. So you have won that game 2-1. Give it up, everyone in the studio. Hey. Yay! Yay!
Everyone, email us in or text us in or whatever. What should be Barry's punishment? I don't know if I get a punishment. No. He should be punished for losing.
I think that's been another great game. I can't wait to trial it and sell the rights to that game, and it's been brilliant.
Right, so regular listeners of Knackers in the Breeze would know that this podcast is based upon someone called The Father Would You Rather. If no one knows the history behind that is because he has offered the initial questions of would you rather this or would you rather that? And that is why he's called The Father Would You Rather.
He's a founding father in every way, in every sense of the word.
And we're sorry that he was not included in the last podcast, but we have one here for you fresh.
Fresh.
And he is travelling right now. He is in Thailand, and he has very generously supplied us with a Would You Rather from Thailand. So
that is amazing. He's got the whole world at his fingertips. He's in a new land.
He's got the whole world at his fingertips, but he's still thinking of Knackers in the Breeze. Which, do you know, I would if I was on my last days. I'd be thinking of our podcast.
I was on death's door in Thailand. I would be the same. Yeah, no, I agree. Amazing.
Right, so this is Paul's question.
Hello, Barry and Ryan. Happy New Year to both of you. I'm glad you're doing another Knackers in the Breeze. Ryan has asked that I do a serious, sensible thinker. of a question this time, as opposed to my usual silly and inappropriate nonsense. So it's been very difficult for me. I've consulted Kelly, and she came up with vagina for eyes or for a mouth, or something about penis fingers. So she's been a great help. I've come up with, would you rather guarantee that there is no war from now until the end of time, however, you suffer for the whole of your life, or that you live a very happy life, a very fulfilled life, and things continue as they are? So it all depends on how selfless you are. Do bear in mind also that nobody would know about this decision that you've made, and it will be made in secret also. So yeah, that's as good as I got. I hope it's more.
Would you rather a penis for hands or a hand for your penis?
It's a terrible one. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
Which one do you want to tackle first?
That was very deep, wasn't it?
Which one, the penis for a hand or the hand for a penis? Because that is all I can think of right now.
That is equally as deep.
That's quite deep. Can I just get that? Can I get that
deep.
out of the way quickly? The penis hand, just as it was thrown in. I would rather have a hand for a penis. To be honest with you, because most tables are at crotch height, so I'll be able to just grab things easily and
Just
lift.
ease of access.
Well, the button for lifts, for door handles, they're all crotch height really, so I could just open doors with my penis. So let's move on from that. Let's go straight to the next question, the important question from the father. Would you rather? It's a very good question. How do you feel about it?
Right, so a happy life and fulfilled life and continue as you are, but there are still the situations that are going on in the world now, or peace on earth, and you suffer inexplicably, from what he says.
I think the key point there is that, and as an egotistical person, if nobody knows about my sacrifice, fuck that, because I won't even get any plaudits for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I have to suffer in silence, quite literally. And but it is a sacrifice worth making, isn't it? Right?
Do you know what? Like the
right answer.
I don't even know if it's an egotistical thing in me, but which wars are going on right now in the world?
Okay. Oh, is that a straight question?
Yes.
Yemen.
Syria. Against
Africa.
whom?
Syria is like a bit. I mean, that's a very complicated question. But like Russia are involved, Turkey are involved, Britain are involved.
There's no clear wars like it was in like World War II against like UK versus.
I think Yemen are being persecuted. I think there's a genocide
Since at least in Europe, there's been no conflict.
No.
Apart from the Yugoslavian wars.
What do you mean?
And there's no massive wars going on right now.
Ukraine's been annexed by Russia. There's
that wasn't a war though, was it? It was a.
People say it was a war. It was a conflict.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was a conflict,
but I think. Can I just say? I'm going to expound from that question. I think what he's trying to say is any conflict, like all suffering from nations against nations. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he literally meant war. But war. That's just semantics, isn't it? Because one man's war is another man's plague time, as they say.
Yeah,
they've always said that. So, okay, but are you saying there are no wars right now? So
I'm not saying there's no wars right now. I'm saying what I'm saying is I've not massively done my research, but I've done a little bit of research, and I don't think there's any country versus country wars right now, which is kind of strange to say in history.
Is it really not? I mean,
who can you think of that is one country versus one country war right now?
I know that. I don't know, but India, Pakistan are always.
India, Pakistan are not a war.
They're neck and neck. They're always at any moment could.
Yeah, it's agitated, but
spill.
Yeah, they have the whole border dispute, and they have the whole border show off thing. But
that's brilliant.
They're not at war.
No, I know what you mean, but there's definitely genocides.
Going on in there's definitely threats, but there's no war.
There's definitely war in Syria, but you're right.
Yes, but there's no.
It's a proxy war. It's not really a traditional war. In the sense that there's this against.
There's been a war in Iraq, but then there's not been us against Iraq. It's always been.
I think Saudi are definitely bombing Yemen, but again, it's not a war because they're not really fighting back. I feel like it's a bit of a one-way street, and it's a proxy thing where it's a political battle where there's
it's
9 nations
now, isn't it? It's changed the whole political war system.
Why can't we have a good old war where there's just 1v1? I'd love that. It'd be refreshing. It's all just
since. At least in European terms, since Yugoslavia, which was the late 90s.
Yeah, you're right. And even before then, probably like Falklands. That was quite a fun one. That was quite nice. Argentina.
That was the 80s, mate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was saying before that, like.
No, before that.
That was maybe the last good one where it was you knew who the enemy was.
The one that was entertaining on television.
You knew who the winners were and the losers were.
So Paul, the one we can watch on television, we'd rather watch that than be good ourselves.
Well, don't think for me. I would. Yeah, I agree.
So you'd rather watch on television than me be good?
I would rather. So I suffer in pain for the rest of my life, and there's no wars.
Well, we haven't.
But
we haven't discovered what the suffer is, but I would imagine suffer some sort of debilitating.
There are no wars, so fuck it. I don't want to be suffering for no reason. I mean, here's the thing. Are you ready for this? I will not suffer until there is a war. When there suddenly is a war that brews over and becomes a war, then give me all the pain and suffering until the war ends. Then when it ends, I can go back to being in good health again. Is that okay?
Okay.
Because no war lasts longer than 12 years, right? Based on zero. I plucked that out of my arse, that figure. I mean, would you count? I mean, the war. I mean, there is a war.
Think about the families that have died in this war that he's mentioning. That then look into you, going, you could have suffered, rather than
they don't
these
know
countless thousands
I've got to live with
that could have survived apart from your suffering.
Oh, here's the thing. I agree, and also I think Israel-Palestine is definitely a bit of a war, right? And that's been going on for centuries. Like, it's
not an official war, I suppose.
It's not recognised by me.
Do you know what? In the world, it is -ish.
Right, okay. Well, can I just say, honestly, the real, honest, heartful answer is, I would suffer so that people could be happy. But if there are no wars...
I'm so happy you said that, because I would happily have Barry suffer so that another nation or nations...
It's a very good point, because he didn't put a little thing in saying that we would both be suffering.
I'm sure he said Barry.
Father.
This question.
No, he didn't. Father, rather. FR. Can we share it? Because I would suffer a little bit if I could every year, annually.
I would happily suffer 5% of what you have to suffer 95%. Do you know what, Father? Would you rather? I would happily do that. If that prevents the war, I would happily do that. Depending on the war, depending on the circumstances, depending on the pain I have to suffer 5% of, I will not happily do, but reluctantly do. And that is why I'm altruistic.
You are a bloody good guy, alright? You're a bloody good guy.
Riding on a pony, eat a macaroni, Twilight Zone, it's Paul Simeone.
Right, that was the Father Would You Rather's question, and he is currently travelling around Southeast Asia. If anyone likes our podcast, then he has got a YouTube channel called PK Travels.
Yes.
If anyone wants to be envious of any sort of aspirations that anyone has in mind, then PK Travels, look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's one thing to listen to something, but when you watch it, so here's his visual. It's a bloody vlog. When you can see it,
when you can see the Father Would You Rather's face.
Oh, do you know what? For fans that have listened to since episode 1 or 2, when he got involved, and he is the father of this podcast in every way. When you see his face...
When you can see the glorious beard.
It's everything that you think that it would be, and more. It really is. And his eyes hold a million mysteries, but his beard holds more. You know, he's amazing. And here's the thing, we mentioned it earlier, but to even think of us while he's away in that distant land is magical, beautiful.
To even think of us whilst he has proposed to his then girlfriend, who is now... Congratulations. His fiancée.
Yeah, that's magical.
Paul and Kelly, congratulations on your engagement.
Yes.
PK Travels, everyone look it up on YouTube.
Look it up. And subscribe and like. And it's great. It's really, I like how they're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but it's so well done. They've edited it on the way, recorded on the way.
It's all Kelly, apparently. So.
Oh, okay.
Good on Kelly for your editing.
Yes,
we may employ you for hours, because ours is appalling.
Right, so I've got a lovely little question for you here, and I recorded this a while ago in our sort of when we weren't doing the podcast, and there was nowhere to send it to. What was I supposed to do with it? So I sat on it like a little golden egg, and I'm going to hatch it out.
Was there nowhere to send it to, or was there Knackers in the Breeze?
There was Knackers in the Breeze at gmail.com.
To send it to.
There was that Knackers with a KN. There was. But I didn't send it. because I was a fool. But my question here, I remember saying it into the microphone, and I remember reading it incorrectly, and then just going, fuck it, just leave it. And here's the question. Internally and internationally, there has been many a war waged. But which war would you fight in? It can be from any time in history. Could be World War III. Did you understand that question?
Was that your voice? It didn't sound like you.
That was me, yeah. That was me putting on my acting voice. I was projecting. So, did you understand the question?
From any war from...
Any war from history. Any war that you conceivably know about. Obviously not the wars we've just spoken about, because they don't exist. But any war. What war? You have to fight in one. What war would you fight in? Would it be World War II? And who would you fight for? Would it be the Rome? I mean, here's the thing. As a listener, you need to be aware that this man is a bit of a history buff, and he listens to things like the Anglo-Saxons' rise to fame, shit lectures, and he listens to Roman history and World War II history So that's why I asked the question to him, because I feel like I could only name 3 wars. The Boer War, which I know nothing about, World War I and World War II. But you probably know a lot more wars than that, I imagine.
I know about the Boer War and everything.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. And that's why I asked you the question. So, which war would you fight? You have to fight in a war. Which war? And there's many reasons why there's lots of reasons to choose.
Before I answer that question...
You might like the redcoats. You might like the fabric. You might like the fact you won't die in World War blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah.
You might like the bayonets of World War One.
Before I answer that question, I would like to go into the wars that are the other end that I would specifically not like.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. I like that.
I listen to a lot of. This is a podcast, so I'd like to promote another podcast.
Yeah.
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
I'm a fan.
Dan Carlin, if you're listening, then please, I don't know, promote our podcast and the end of yours.
Honestly,
I'm sure you are.
I'm going to say I subscribe to Dan Carlin. Very long, many hour long podcast, but very interesting. And if you're listening right now, subscribe. Dan Carlin, definitely worth it.
Dan Carlin. There's 2 wars that come to mind, but 3 battles that come to mind.
Yeah,
it's the worst thing ever. If you want to look it up, one of them is the Battle of Cana.
Okay.
It's between the Roman Empire and Carthaginians.
Right. Okay.
And if you've seen Game of Thrones, I don't want to spoil it for you. So if you've not seen Game of Thrones, then mute it for a second. But if you have seen Game of Thrones, then it's the Battle of the Bastards.
Yes.
You know, when they surround everyone.
One of my favourite.
Yeah,
episodes.
Everyone is circled in,
yes.
and everyone's kind of stabbing in, and everyone's bodies are piling upon bodies and stuff like that. Weirdly, I think Game of Thrones kind of multiplies everything by its history. This is the only time that it's kind of minimised the history of what it is. The Battle of Cana is like people were spending days trapped in this circle, being pinned in this thing that is inevitable death, and the people in the centre were so certain of their death, going, we are going to die, and so many people dug holes in the earth and then buried their heads in the earth to suffocate themselves, to relinquish themselves of being killed by the Carthaginians.
Bloody hell. What? So, sorry. So here's the thing. So, I'm being attacked. So I'm part of this army. So, and I'm literally surrounded by the enemy. You mean literally circled by the enemy?
Circled by the enemy.
So there's no way out.
And this was like a massive surprise in history, because the Roman army was bigger than the Hannibal's army.
Yeah.
And Hannibal's army managed to like tactically surround this army and then managed to kill everyone. It took like a whole day to go from the outside circle to go into the inside circle, to kill everyone, basically.
God, that's amazing.
And if you're in the inside circle and you're watching everyone die, you can't do anything because you're like shoulder to shoulder with everyone being squashed.
That's incredible.
Yeah, there's been like things of like people digging in the earth, burying their heads to die.
So how many people in the middle would you predict? Like,
I don't know the figures, but
any ballpark.
There was
it's more than
thousands.
Thousands.
Battle of Cana, Cannae, I think.
Don't email
look it up
that,
on Wikipedia.
Okay. That's amazing. I'll look that up. That sounds fascinating.
That's the far end of it.
So you wouldn't choose that.
I would
Although,
not choose
here's
that.
the thing.
However,
But would you choose that and be part of the Hannibal?
That's the battle. The whole war. What Dan Carlin talks about is the whole First World War, the Western Front of what war in terms of conditions of what you'd live in. You'd have to live in. This is January now. I mean, we're fine. Well, we're not fine. We're a bit nippy.
We're in a wooden
It's
shed,
6 degrees.
it's
If we're in Belgium,
fire.
Belgium right now, it's like minus something. Is snowing.
There's all over Europe right now is snow. Yeah, it's very heavy snow.
And you're living in mud.
Yeah.
We're in a shed and we're a bit nippy and we're complaining about it. But
we're
if you're living in mud and you have to fire at people who are firing at you, and that's going on for months, that's awful.
Yes. Yeah,
and then there's World War II. There's like Stalingrad, which was the worst thing that's probably ever happened. And it's like, if you look at the figures like that, it's a million people died either side from that just one battle in Stalingrad in one city.
That is unbelievable, isn't it? I can't even fathom that. That's great. That's crazy numbers. I can't even fathom that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So
anyway, so which one would you like to?
What I'd like to, I don't know.
But here's the thing. I say the question. It's not would you like to, but would you choose to? So all wars and battles by their very nature are terrible. So it's not like, oh, I'd love to be part of that one, because they're all inherently terrible. But if you had to choose one, which one? And obviously, you know what?
It'd be like a completely
you can choose your side, by the way. So you could have been part of Hannibal's army encircling whoever they're called. You could have been part of that, but then it would be pretty horrible to be. It's almost like kicking a puppy. It's a really horrible thing to do when they're certain for death and you're just closing in on them. But that you could choose that because you know you're not going to suffer.
Well,
so it's up to you.
The one I'd choose is like the massive underdog of the history of like being the one that won it overall.
Right.
That managed to overcome whatever.
William Wallace.
Something like no. It wasn't a war, but Gandhi. Or something like that. It wasn't a war.
I like that. Okay, like a spiritual war.
Yeah, so you are a part of it, but the best of what you're coming out of is
but you didn't harm anyone.
Independence of your whole country. So actually, Gandhi was a part of World War II, I suppose. So that part of it, rather than
I like that. That's a very good answer.
A winning like Falklands.
Answer. But here's the thing, because any war, you could argue that the winner is also a loser. Obviously, I mean, I don't be hippy dippy about it. I don't be a hippie little knobhead. But if you've won, you've killed a lot of people, and inherently, have you really won if you've killed hundreds of thousands of people?
Well, the way the way that Gandhi did it is like he won a war. It's debatable whether it's a war or not, but he won a war whilst
didn't kill a single soul.
No.
And people suffered, but eventually it won. That's a very good answer, and I was not expecting you to say that. That's a very good answer.
What would you say, Barry?
Oh God! Well, I love uniforms, so probably the Nazis, because I would love to wear that.
But they didn't win.
I'm joking. That's not.
They have a bit of a uniform, but
Can I say that was a completely silly joke? I don't mean that at all. If I could choose, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Really, I'd like. It's very specifically.
Are you only apologising because they didn't win? You like the uniform?
No. I very specifically like the romantic idea of being part of the air battles in World War II. You know?
Oh shit! Yeah, that's good.
You know, I'd like to be part of the Dam Busters, for example. I think the
Battle of Britain.
The Battle of Britain, but like.
Fuck me! I should have said that earlier.
Probably, I like the Dam Busters are quite exciting. And do you know what? Where we're based, just up the road, literally about 4 miles, is Manston. And that's where the bouncing bomb they used to destroy the dams was created. So it's very apt. You know, it's in my blood. That's what I'd choose. But yeah, the British in World War II, but very specifically, not the people on the front line in any sense. The people in planes that could retreat back to the base.
I massively regret my answer. I wish I had said your answer of like being the Battle of Britain. I would have loved that. Fucking Gandhi. Dangle out your knuckles into please. So we've hoped you enjoyed this podcast, and if you want to get in contact, if you want to ask another question, it's knackersinthebreeze@gmail.com.
Yes, as always. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Google if you just type those famous words in, and send your love and
send your hate, but like privately.
Yeah, send your hate. And yeah, send your hate very privately. And also, Father, would you rather? You know, any message you want to get to him, you can go through us, or you can find his YouTube channel.
PK Travels
PK
on YouTube.
Yeah, and he would massively appreciate that, and so would the mother of the father. Would
Of
you
the
rather?
mum of Who'd You'd Bum.
That's how I'll always remember her. Yeah, and and they will appreciate that tenfold. So thank you for listening, and it's been another episode of Knackers in the Breeze. Let's move on from that. Let's go straight to the next question. The important question from the father, would you rather? It's a very good question. How do you feel about it?
What was it?